Well, hi everybody. How are you today? This is Mark Chaffardini. Thank you so much for coming back to the Go See Talk podcast experience. Oh, I'm choking up. I can't believe we're getting to talk to people who make the stuff we love, and we love these movies. We love Tina Romero's Queens of the Dead. Today we have a very special episode and want to introduce you to three visionary film personalities who are tall in stature, wide in vision, and their work will rock your world. Now, this goes out to all the listeners who might need a pick me up. To that, I'll say you are unique, you are brave, you are fantastic, and this is going to be an unforgettable interview. Natalie Metzger is an eagle eyed producer, writer, director who has made waves the last decade with Vanishing Angle and giving us frights and delights like A Spoonful of Sugar and Werewolves Within. She had produced the debut effort of our extra special guest, Tina Romero. She has gifted the world with Queens of the Dead, a delightful and deep film about friendship, social issues, social commentary, costume changes, and a few dozen undead. Also joining us is Erin Judge, who is just rounding out this trio of people who make awesome stuff for our entertainment purposes. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Erin, Natalie, and Tina Romero to the show. How are things in your world?
Hi, Mark. Oh my gosh, that was an amazing intro. So nice to be here.
We're
Things are
happy to have
great in this world. This has been one of the most exciting summers of my life. It is so incredibly surreal and awesome to be sharing this baby that we made with the world. And I'm thrilled to be talking to you about it today.
you.
And
Well,
Mark,
you've
very
conquered.
special. Oh, sorry.
No, 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 go for it, Natalie. You have more important things to say than myself.
I was just gonna say that today is a very special day. It's funny that that the our recording ended up being today because Fangoria just announced and just kind of debuted their new fall cover issue, and Tina is on the cover and featuring Queens of the Dead. So
All right. Show us the
It's
guns,
so
Tina.
special.
Show us the guns.
It's so special, and specifically the cover is homaging a 1985 edition featuring Tom Savini and Rob Martin, who visited the set of Day of the Dead and dressed, got costumed as a zombie and then wrote about it. And we have Zero Gravity, who is just the coolest, most like interesting, fun horror influencer and media personality that I've ever met. And she came to our set and does a cameo, and then she wrote about the experience, and so it's just a really cool full circle moment for this movie and for Fangoria, and it's really thrilling.
Excellent. And Natalie, I guess you're wearing that shirt on purpose. There was a reason for that.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, what should I wear this morning? I was like, you know what? Today's the day.
Well, now, so Aaron, why don't you tell us? So you look like you're in transit or parking, but you drive a really a hard bargain when you help produce this film. Um,
Well, actually, I wrote it with Tina. Tina and I wrote the movie together.
oh,
So
got my notes
we
wrong.
are we're the co-writers of Queens of the Dead. We've been working on this film, the screenplay, for a number of years. And I don't know if you can tell by the back of my car, I have two kids. When we started writing this screenplay, I only had one. So it's been a journey through life. And, it was funny because I was actually on set just for a few days because Tina was like the writer on set, and I was in LA during the production of the movie. But I got to be there when Zero was there, and so it was really special to see that experience of having like this horror creator be a zombie in the movie, and just really sitting in the makeup chair for umpteen hours, and having that special cover be all photographed.
Amazing work. Just goes to show you how long these things take. It's doesn't just fall out of thin air. It's a lot of heart and soul and sweat and tears. So, but I think the movie really speaks for itself. I think Tina as a debut feature, this is phenomenal. You've conquered Bushwick, you've conquered Comic Con, and now you're here on this podcast. I don't know what that says about your trajectory, but everybody has bumps in the road. But in the words of a true screen powerhouse, we're never ready, but it's always how it starts.
That's right.
But it's exciting because when someone says the word Romero, you always have to say like, yeah, that Romero, the legendary. Like, how many Y's can you put on legendary? And it's always a Trojan horse for things that you want to say, and less about the heavy or the baddie of the week or the baddie of the film. It seems like social issues are an absolute necessity. So Erin and Tina coming from that aspect, like how did you gel? How did you, Wonder Twins unite? What was
Well, well, Aaron and I go way back. We have been longtime collaborators. We went to college together, an all women's college called Wellesley. Um, we were friends, and then we I guess, Aaron, did we start working together after college? When I went to film school, we actually
Yeah.
went back to, yeah, we did a project for Wellesley. We wrote something about online etiquette called Netiquette, and actually I love it. It was one of my favorite films we've ever made together. And then we wrote a short together when I was in grad school. And I love working with Aaron. There's something about our shorthand that's just so efficient and fun, and like we do just gel together so well. And so when this concept came to me, I called her right away, and I was like, I think you are the perfect collaborator for this. And we just got into it. Many trips to LA, many like retreats in her apartment with a baby, eating raspberries, like, just like goo down his face, looking at him, writing zombie kills. And I do think that like it is a marathon. We put in a lot of years, and for a long time it was just me and Aaron believing in this thing. Like, okay, we're going to carve the time out of our lives to make this happen. There's no one telling us we have a deadline. There's no one giving us any money, but we believe in it. So we just kind of motivated each other to keep at it. I couldn't have done it without her. Aaron, I couldn't have done it without you.
Yeah,
And
no, I mean it's been such a journey, and also like I feel like Tina has this DJ persona, DJ Tricks, that contributes a lot to the sentiment of the movie and the setting, like the fact that it's New York City nightlife. And I'm a stand-up comic, and I was doing stand-up in New York for many years, and before I moved to LA. But also I'm a native New Yorker. So when Tina was like, I want to make this in Bushwick, I want this to have like House of Yes neighborhood vibes. And I was like, absolutely, we can do that. And also I need the characters to have like that sort of New York City feel. Some of them need to be native New Yorkers, some of them need to be transplants, and we need to have that dynamic as part of it, along with this cast of crazy queer people from every walk of life.
yeah. Hence the map tilt joke, for those of you who have seen the film. That's an Erin Judge original, and little known fun tip for a lot of New Yorkers.
Yeah.
I feel like
Mhm.
that joke always lands so well.
I know, and I was worried that only New York people would get a kick out of it, but it actually, I think people do enjoy it, whether you're from New York or not.
Because I think
Yeah, I
even
think
from there, you've ridden the New York subway and you've looked at those maps, and I think it's like a little bit of like a mind blow moment, even if
Yeah,
you're like you don't live it every day, you know?
yeah.
it's ripped from the headlines of my life, right? Like I was riding the train one day and somebody blew up my whole life geography of New York City by telling me that the map was tilted. I was like, what? Right. It's funny because I have family all over the country now. They all were all originally New York City, and we all moved all over the country. And now my aunt and uncle went and saw the movie in North Carolina. And I don't think that they understand how New York some of the characters are. Like there's our token straight guy, Barry, and he's very, very New York. And to them, they're just like, I like the one guy who's regular, the normal guy, the guy who's kind of ordinary. I'm like, he's also he's also very New York.
Yeah, yes, yeah. But to Mark, going back to your what you said about the importance of social commentary in Romero. I mean, before we had page one, Aaron and I knew that we couldn't do a zombie movie in the Romero universe without coming in hot with some social commentary. And we knew we wanted to make it fun, but we also knew we wanted to say some shit. And so I think that was one of our starting places. Was like, what are some of our motifs here? What are some of the issues we want to tackle and look at? And for us, phone addiction and social media addiction and the ways in which these devices are separating us as humans, in addition to the opioid crisis, and then of course, like the key one of the key things that was the inspiration behind this film was some infighting within the community, within the queer community that happens, and also specifically the corporate poaching of gay talent. Um, Two things which I have seen go down in the queer nightlife world. Um, and so that we kind of started with a tableau of these things we wanted to tackle, and then we started to create the characters. And then I think what happens is when you're working on something for almost a decade, you really get to know these characters. So even though our first drafts were like enormous and had multiple parties and way more scope than the final product, as we like worked with, especially when we got Vanishing Angle in the room, we did some development with them, and that was such a crucial writing. Like Natalie and Matt helped us distill the script down to something that was much more shootable. But we knew our characters so well. We knew what we wanted to say so well at that point that I think the result is pretty rich.
Well, I mean, it's like a rich cornucopia of people who, the standout characters, but nobody really stands out because there's even temper, even tone. And I'm wondering when you work on that, like how do you pull people back so there's not a favorite, so to speak? It really is an ensemble.
Oh man. Well, it was cool when Natalie, when was it that we realized that Dre and Sam had like the same amount of scenes? At some point we realized that they were like equal parts, page count wise or scene count
Yeah.
wise.
I feel like it was
And
actually kind of late in the process where it was just kind of like because initially there was another main ensemble person that ended up kind of getting combined, and then like and as that process happened, like Dre ended up getting bigger, and then all of a sudden we were like, oh wait, it's like a
co-lead.
in a way, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that I mean that was important to us to sort of to like make sure that we kept attention in the right places emotionally for the right people, and nobody was, um we did want this to be a true ensemble piece where like you kind of got to know everybody as quickly as possible. That was also important to us because this is about the community, the full spectrum of the community. And in a lot of ways, it's kind of like the community is the main character, together. Um, and yeah, so I mean, I got to chalk this up to Erin Judge because she is just brilliant when it comes to dialogue and getting to know characters through dialogue quickly, efficiently, in ways that actually mean something to the audience. And just her writing is so good when it comes to like getting to know somebody quickly. And I think that's how we can do this in a 90-minute movie. I think that's 99, how you can actually successfully follow all of these people.
I think the casting was also so critical. Like the
Yeah,
people we actually got to say these words are so
yeah,
incredible. They really find the characters from the very beginning of shooting and bring new things to the characters that we maybe weren't anticipating, but like just leapt out of the performance. And the thing that ended up being cool was that like when you have these characters that you've worked with in your mind for so many years, you can really write quick lines for them in every scene so that they
Mhm.
have something to say, right? They're contributing. But also a lot of the lines that now come out in the movie, some of them are improvised, and it's because the people who were cast, the actors brought such great characterizations and were able to come out with one liners that were right in the voice of their character that kept that character alive in every scene.
yeah, yeah.
Well, I have so many takeaways from this. I mean, I laugh at how people gravitate towards Barry. I mean, when he goes, I like this guy. Who is this guy? And it's about him catching the fuck up. But there's other great things. Like probably my favorite line in the movie is, let's see. What is it about you young ones? You need a personal invitation just to feel like you belong. I'm not sorry if I'm getting that right, but like that really spoke to me. And then when Dre was talking to Lizzie and she says, "Baby, you're solutionizing, okay? And I just need to vent, remember?" And I'm wondering like how much of this stuff comes from a personal place, or how much have you, like you said, these characters exist and you feel like that naturally flows from them.
Oh, I love these lines that you picked up on. Aaron, did you say that that might be one of your favorite lines too, the Gen Z moment
I think
in
that
the
is very, yeah, I think that that's very effective because I think that there is something about sort of, I'm a millennial and I think that, as much as I might like feels about this, like Jinzi's an elder millennial and therefore a queer elder, right? Like she's like one of the people holding it down. She could be like, 40s something. And like to me, that feeling of like community not feeling as secure for younger people is it's very heavy. And I think that there's a lot about social media that brings that to the table. But I also think that on some level, like when we were growing up, the queer kids weren't necessarily the cool kids. We were taking refuge together. We were like, we had to find each other and band together with other queer people to like feel accepted. And so suddenly, like in this transition, like in the last 10 years, like the queer scene in Bushwick is cool. And like there's all this like cachet and like social status associated with it. But I think Jinsey represents this like, no, we're family. We need each other. And bringing that sort of legacy from previous generations all the way down to the young ones like Sam and Nico.
Yeah. And as far as the
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 lesbian
Lizzie's
couples
line,
therapy line.
I guess you could say that maybe comes from some personal experience.
Well, I guess little tidbits like that are, in a word, scrumptious, and I think that it's and I think each of you have a unique perspective on this. Erin and Tina can write, Tina can direct, and Natalie can supervise. And I just, I would have loved to see this in like a time lapse speed thing of just like how your minds work and how the like 3D chess in a way. So like,
Well, there was a lot that had to change during shooting.
Yeah.
Like there's like when you have the white screen with the blinking cursor in front of you, you can write a $200 million movie and no one's going to stop you. But along the way you have to whittle it back, and then when you're on set actually producing like what's going into like what's getting shot, things have to change all the way through that process as well. So and honestly, post production as well. Post production has been a journey for Tina, and she did an amazing job shepherding what was in the can into what is, I think, just the best it could possibly be.
Oh, thank you, Erin. Yeah,
I'm so
we were.
proud, so
Oh.
proud of you. I just want to tell everybody. I'm like, oh my god, it's like it's truly, and I think that that's what the cast experiences when they see it too. They're like, they're like, wow, this is the best outcome that could have, like, it's just an amazing piece of film. And I love the script. I'm like proud of the script and everything, but it's so much more than that. And so much more work and content and music and choices that went into the post-production process that have just made it really impressive.
well, I
Thank
think you write what you know, and I know that your dad, I met him once. He signed
Oh
this for
yeah.
me, and I got him
Oh.
to write "Fast Zombies Suck."
Woohoo!
And it's important, with this cannonball into the Romero universe, you stay true to a bunch of things. But
Yes.
I'm curious, like where your callbacks exist. Do you purposely cherry pick things? Because when Yasmin is live streaming and all the zombies kind of become entranced, is that like a callback to the fireworks and Land of the Dead? Are there things that you're like, I love that my dad did this. I love that my dad did this. Let's try to, tether this universe.
Oh wow, you really know your stuff, Mark. I love it. We knew that we were going to stick to Romero traditional mythology here. Obviously, no running zombies. One bite turns you. You got to shoot him in the head. We had a lot of conversation, Aaron and I, about like how does one become a zombie? It's actually, any death of any sort. Like if you die after the death, after there's no more room in hell, you're going to rise. Hence, Jax, our character Jax, who ODs and becomes a zombie. We wanted to keep all these things traditional and then add this one more element, which is that the zombies are still responding to their devices. Because I just feel in my heart, my dad would absolutely approve of this little remnant of what it was like to be a human in their lives, which is like these days it's second nature just to pull out your phone and start swiping. So that that moment, I actually didn't. I'm going to be honest, I didn't think about the Land of the Dead fireworks, although there is totally that There is that in the film. The zombies are drawn to the party. They're distracted by the disco lights. They're distracted by their phones. There's this, this place was somewhere special to them. We talked a lot about that with the Dawn of the Dead speech of them, all the zombies coming to the mall. We wanted all the zombies coming to the club. Dawn of the Dead, I think, was a big reference point for us, not only in the look of the zombies, but in this idea of there being some kind of like core memory in the undead that's drawing them to a place that once was important to them. And then also there's the scene with Jax and Nico at the go-go cage, which to me is very much like the scene in the mall when they're divided by the glass door, human and zombie facing off, staring at each other. Zombies are such a great mirror of ourselves. It's such a monster that is like ready to be a mirror for the human experience. As far as callbacks, there are some Easter eggs that are planted very intentionally, but I think my what I feel is that, and what I hope people can feel is that my dad is spiritually in this film because he's in me. And I feel really proud of the fact that this is a movie that he would never have made. It feels very different from anything he would have made, but I do think he's in there, because he's my dad, and because his spirit was so much in his films, and yeah, it's a little cheesy, but
But that's
that's how I
perfect,
feel.
though. I'm
Yeah.
glad you said that. Um, well, I'm also curious how things can have a double meaning. I mean, the film is about pride, both in lifestyles, but it's also there's I think one of the most remarkable turning points of the film is when Sam, he's scared of getting on stage, but as soon as he sees that Kelsey needs him, his medical training kicks in, and his calm demeanor just shows how good he is at his job. And then when he, or when Sam becomes Samanse, it's like you're proud of yourself, you're accepting who you are, and it's letting it out to the world, a lot like this film. So I don't know if there's a question there. It's just more of like double meanings and stuff like that. Great work.
Thank you. Yeah, there is kind of a wild, like, art imitating life, like life imitating art element to this film. Including like with the way that our cast and our crew, um, this film is about the queer community surviving something crazy, and that was very much the case off camera too. We really banded together as a community to get this movie done. And so on and off screen, it really was about the fighting spirit of the gays.
And I think the idea of like bringing it all together and being your whole self
Yeah.
is an important element as well. Like that's something that we definitely wanted to bring in, is just like how do you fully integrate all of the elements of yourself and be yourself in the crucial moment when the world needs that of you. And I think they all find their courage in their own way.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, a couple key or well-placed words can move you, motivate you, and so just hearing the words "I need you" or "We need you" can fill a hole in your soul. And I'm wondering, did that come from a personal place? Did you each of you have that in your life that you can call back to? And it seems like you're together and you're accepted in this effort, but like in daily basis, individuality, like do you feel like you get that as well? Enough of it.
That's such an interesting question. I'm a stand-up comic and a writer of many things. And I think that, one of the things that I've experienced is just in my collaboration with Tina. She's just a very appreciative collaborator, which is an incredibly motivating force from a leader. I think that everybody who worked on the movie was in some way like doing it for Tina because Tina could see each of us and was so enthusiastic about each of us and what we were bringing to the project. And it's very motivating. It's like to feel like what you have to offer is being celebrated is the best case scenario. And I think that that's something I definitely experienced on this project for sure.
So good.
And I hope that Tina did too. I mean, like, I the grace and poise she has on set, even if it's 115 degrees, like, which it never was, but like, you know, it felt like it. It's just Tina always had a smile on her face, and it was really remarkable to see. You're right, like writing with her was one experience. Watching her direct was like a very amazing experience of watching somebody really come into their absolute what they're meant to do.
Oh, oh, Erin, I'm
Again, you
blushing.
got to put up the
Uh.
guns, Tina. You gotta. You're getting all this praise, all of this
Oh my
affirmation.
God, it's so much. Thank you, Erin, for saying that. I mean, there's this entire team was just unbelievable. Like a dream team doesn't even capture it. Every single person just brought their all, and we did. Every single person was necessary. You know, this was pretty. We needed every single person, every human, everybody on that set. Everyone was doing the most. And I think that we all could feel that we needed each other. Everyone knew that they were essential to this, and I think that does create motivation for everyone. As far as my the arc of Samance, I'll share this experience. The night that DJ Trix was born was the weekend of the Pulse nightclub shootings in Orlando. I had a DJ gig at a party called Hot Rabbit, and I was feeling really weird about DJing. I felt it felt like wrong to be going to DJ a dance party on that weekend, and I just felt full of anxiety and nerves and didn't and anyway, I found myself wandering around 21st Street, and I popped into my favorite costume store, Abracadabra, and this mask was looking at me, and for whatever reason I was drawn to it, and I picked it up and I said, I'm wearing this tonight. This is going to be my armor. And that night I did my set, and not only did I feel like a new level of performance unlocked, I also felt a total 180 and realized that it was essential that that we did have a party that night, that we did not let the fear prevent us from coming together and being together. Because you know the queer nightlife space is really so much about so much more than just a great party. It is, we do party better than anyone, but it's really a place of connection and finding family and finding self-expression. And that night for me was like when I discovered a whole new strength as a DJ and as a performer, um, and a little bit as a person. And so that's you know what that's how I relate to Sam and Samanse's journey, is that there is so much power in like you can unlock a whole new truth, a whole new level of yourself when you put on this armor. Um, the armor of drag. And you know, RuPaul said something that once that really stuck with me, which is like the power that's available to you in drag is also available to you out of drag. And I think it's like, but the drag can help you get there and help you feel it and help you find your strengths, and then you can hold on to it, if that makes sense. And so that was, you know, that was something I wanted to explore as far as the drag element of this. I think it really comes from that root of the power you can find there.
Well, to quote a great philosopher, drag is not life or death. It's fun. And it seems like is filmmaking fun? I know it's stressful. I know you got shots to hit. I know you need to get stuff and like please yourselves and please the audience and please the people who cut the checks, Natalie Metzger. But like, but I guess how does the fun enter in? Like how can you shrug the idea of like deadlines and commitments and just relish in being with the people you're around?
Yeah, it was the shoot was hard. The shoot was hard, and it was fun. It was hard and stressful and hot, and we never had enough time. But I think that's usually how it goes. Um, and I gotta say that the during some of the hardest nights on set is when I kind of felt my dad the most in the room, and it was when. You know, like specifically one night we're on the streets of Paterson, New Jersey at 4 a.m. with like um, a fog machine and lights and Nina West in a nurse's outfit on a scooter and not enough time to shoot. And I wanted to be so frustrated, but I kind of felt my dad looking down and laughing and saying, Tina, this is hilarious. This is amazing. Look at what's going on right now. You're making a zombie movie at 4 a.m. Like, this is fun. Remember, this is fun. And that I really tried to hold on to that, because that perspective can is so easy to lose when it feels like everything's on the line, and you're like, you just got the blinders on. And there were certainly a few nights where I, like, that was easier than others, but I do think, like, in some ways that's how I channeled my dad the most, because he was fun. He was a fun loving guy. He was a gentle giant. He was so silly, and he made dark as shit movies, but he was such a sweetheart. You met him. You probably had a pretty sweet interaction with him, and he loved to laugh, and he loved to. I think he felt that zombies were meant to be a little bit silly. And so I also wanted to hang on to that spiritually, as like making sure there was an element of play in all of the things that we were doing.
Well, you succeeded. It worked. But what I want to know is, out of all the social issues and all the things you need to contend with to try to cram it in there, how does this conversation go? So let's see if I get it right. Hey, Erin. Yeah, Tina. Um, the producer wants to be in the movie. How do we cross that bridge? Okay, do we give her cameo? How do did it go anything like that?
Oh, not quite. It was more like, Natalie, I need you in the shot.
Yeah, it was more like we don't have enough people. We need someone to step in.
And you can generally get away with doing stuff to your producers more easily than you can get away with doing stuff to your SAG background, if you know what I mean. Matt Miller
The
make
camera loves Natalie Metzger, though. I mean that like
yeah,
momentary
yeah.
interaction with Zombie Queen is delicious. It gets a laugh.
I know, you're
It's just a
so good,
wonderful,
Natalie.
yeah.
You're so
Natalie's like,
good.
oh, I'm a yoga bitch. Got it.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
It was
yeah.
stellar. I love it. I love seeing it every time.
Me too. Me too. And Matt Miller makes two cameos, actually. I don't know if you caught them, but it's hard to catch this one. But Matt Miller plays the zombie Easter Bunny.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if you catch Lizzie going, Mr. Miller, what are you doing out of bed? But that is Matt Miller. And then there's also a really quick flash to Matt Miller holding a sign on the street as a homeless person outside. It's really fast, and no one has actually brought it up yet. But this was like a little last minute drop of commentary I wanted to put in there. I really wanted to have an unhoused person on the street with the zombies walking over him, not trying to eat him, just sort of not noticing him, because that's what the streets of the cities are like these days.
Well, there are
Uh,
two other cameos, more like you'd say, but there's two which I love, but I won't spoil. But watching it a second time, I was actually geeking out in the credits, and I saw
oh,
that there were 14 costume companies credited with helping this film. Like, how did that? I mean, I know you got a lot of wardrobe changes, but geez, Louise, 14 companies?
oh man, we gotta shout out David Tabbert right now. David Tabbert, who also worked on Werewolves Within, an incredible Vanishing Angle film, the first Vanishing Angle film I saw, and the reason that I was determined to get my foot in the door with the Vanishing Angle. David Tabbert, Natalie brought up David Tabbert early on before we had the funding for the movie, and he and I we had the opportunity to start brainstorming a while ago, like 2 years probably before we started shooting. And I think that was so crucial, because we had a sense, Matt, Natalie, and I knew that wardrobe kind of needed to take top billing when it came to our budget, and our like we knew that the wardrobe in this drag zombie movie was going to be important. And so I'm glad we had the extra time with David Tabbert, because he started sketching and brainstorming early on, and he just gets it. Oh, he's so good, and he gets it. He gets the world. And he knew who to call, and he got a lot of people to donate pieces, jewelry. We do have a lot of, it's a one night movie, but we do have a lot of wardrobe changes. So there's a makeover moment. We decided Jinsey needed a third outfit. Um,
Well, and there's so many
we
extras too. And those
Yes.
extras, like, it wasn't like, oh, just kind of show up in whatever you would wear. Like, David
Yeah.
specifically was like, they need to be dressed in the exact same like vibe and style, which was like a very specific look. And so, dressing all of them and then having multiples, doubles for all the, for them to eventually transform into zombies. It was really involved. And I think, we gave, I remember David sent us like his budget and it was double what we had. And we were
Yeah.
like, we totally respect that this is what, you need to pull this off, but we have half of that. And so how do we pull this off? And so David just started calling places and like pulling favors. And we luckily got some product placement too that was helpful. But yeah, David pulled off a miracle.
He really did. He really did. And I think that right now in this era of drag, there is this expectation, especially with Drag Race, that like these drag outfits are just like to the nines, like incredibly constructed, expensive, like and he was worried about like stepping up to the plate in this way, and we had a crucial conversation, a turning point, where we decided to really lean into the DIY nature of what our queens would be creating for their final looks. The fact that they were sourcing materials from the bar and rigging it together to make it work. And once we decided that we were going to go that route instead of this, like, let's wow you with a spectacular red carpet runway drag moment, like let's really think about what they would construct, what they would make themselves out of a bar. That kind of unlocked a whole new aesthetic for us. And um, so he reached out to Derek St. Pierre, who is a Pittsburgh native, who ended up being the builder for Samanse and Yasmin's final finale looks. And in another really crazy full circle moment, Derek's parents worked on my father's films. And so here he is, all these years later, a member of our community himself, like kind of, you know, taking on this other zombie universe in his own way. And he's an amazing builder, an amazing artist. And so just another element of collaboration there. But yeah, we also had Val Webster, who was just, she patched out all the Power Dykes jumpsuits, custom. She's like an incredible seamstress tailor, and she was able to on the spot every day do make so much magic. Um, Another fun fact that in our finale, in our battle, our final battle, we could only afford to have 5 stunt zombies, and you can't battle against background. You can't like put hands on them. You can't be doing anything crazy. So we had 5 stunt performers that changed costumes like every other setup to make it seem like we had more. And so that's why in the finale you'll see them wearing like all kinds of hats, wigs, like and it was actually hilarious because these sub people kept coming back to set, and we would laugh every time because they would come back this time wearing like a bedazzled cowboy hat, this time wearing a Tina Turner wig, and it was hilarious and delightful. And they were just also down to like give zombie in whatever new outfit they were given. But yeah, the costume team, wow, they really pulled it off.
Well, I don't know if I'm digging too much, but there's a Samonse Brady in the
Yes.
credits. Does that give the inspiration for Samonse?
Of course. So Monse Brady. Hi Sam. That is my squirrel friend, my bestie. He and I have been gigging together, hustling together for years and years. And he is Sam Samanse. He's not a drag performer, but we call him Samanse because he is Samanse. And what I love about the name, I often name in my scripts characters after people I know. I've done it forever. I don't know why, I just do. I've always enjoyed doing that, and I think it makes me happy when I'm writing. But Sam and Samanse, what I like about it is that the drag name is contained in the out of drag name, and I like that it's cohesive in that way. There's integration in the name and in the drag name, if that makes sense, and it feels like an easy transition for an audience to understand. Okay, Sam is Samanse, instead of sort of grappling with two entirely different names. We already have Nico and Scrumptious. Sam and Samanse just seems like easy to hang on to. And also I know I love that I'm a Beyonce diehard fan. And I know that Jaquel Spivey is as well, so I think it was sort of fun for Jaquel to have a name like Samanse. Yeah.
That's awesome. I bet they're it just shows you care about people in your life enough to put them in your creation. And having to take this creation now from your head to the paper to the set, now to the world. I guess each of the three of you is there an opportunity or like yeah, you're always going to have things you wish you could do over. You're always going to have, like little nicks and ticks like, "Oh, that bugs me." But once it's out in the world, is there things that you look at and you go, I can't believe that that worked. Or, seeing it in a film festival, be like, the crowd is loving it. I wasn't sure about that, but that's, they're eating it up. Zombie pun not intended.
Oh
Oh,
my
we want them
God.
eating. We want them eating for sure.
Yeah, we don't want the meeting. The whole thing, watching it with an audience is just, it's the coolest experience of my life. I kind of sit back and I'm like, I can't believe any of this worked. Holy shit. Um, but but yeah, I think our broadcast from the mayor, which was conceived as an entirely different scene, and the way that we kind of figured it out for the budget that we had, um, and I love that. I think it works. People seem to react to it. People seem to get the vibe, which is like, yeah, corrupt mayor, not necessarily trustworthy information here, and
And what a
that's
great
one of the
casting
moments.
choice, by the way. Did not see that coming.
Oh, good. Good, good, good. Um, yeah, I'm very happy with that casting choice too. And Jinzi's death, Natalie and Erin both know that that was a death scene that was we rewrote that during production. It was she was supposed to fall off the side of a building into an elevated garden bed. It was a whole outside set. There were zombies down below. It was a big set piece. We were actually talking to our stunt coordinator about rigging, making this happen off the roof of the building that we were shooting in. And we had a moment with our co-producer Caroline Aragon, and we just were kind of like, "This is not safe. This isn't going to work. We don't have the time to pull it off." And we were walking around our location, like, how does she fall through this skylight instead? Um, and I was pretty resistant to changing it. I really liked the way we had written it, and I was doubting that this new concept would work, but it works so well now. And we ended up writing it because of the location where we had, the Glitter Bitch party go down had this elevator. It was a tire shop. It was a crazy tire shop, and they had this strange lift, um, and our stunt coordinator is like, well, she could, because we knew we wanted to be a death drop. We wanted her to fall, and this was something that we were already going to this location. We were already going to be there. Why not have her fall out of this elevator lift? Um, and it really does work well. It works in many ways even better than the way it was written, because the way her death goes down now is, um, it's not an accident. It's a sacrifice. She's trying to save Sam. She's pulling the zombies off of him, and so now we have these two queer elders who end up having sacrificial deaths. And to me, that feels pretty meaningful.
I have one I have to contribute here. I agree with that one for sure. And
Yeah.
the death drop it's delicious. But I love everyone in this cast so much. I do not have favorites. I truly love Nico and Jax. I love Tomas and Zamora so much. I think they are brilliant, brilliant performers. They worked hard ahead of time. They came to set knowing everything inside and out. Zamora did all this like movement work to get the Jax character right. And there's a scene where the two of them have a conversation, and they stick to their lines and also bring in so much flavor and authenticity by being friends, because they knew each other for years before, and all like the two actors do, and they make it real. And as a writer, I just feel like that scene is such a gift. I can't believe that it works. That I'm just like, there are these two like young 20 something queer New York City nightlife kids, and like they're working this dialogue, and it feels so authentic. And I'm always so grateful when I watch that scene. I love it. I love those two.
Yeah. Yeah, Samora and Tomas went to high school together. They were both LaGuardia performing arts school queens, and it's so special to have casting like that where there's already a connection established. Natalie, do you have one? Do you have a moment that's like, oh my God, I can't believe that works?
I feel like for me, um, a lot of the like dance sequences, like the opening performance and like the final showdown
Yeah.
performance. Um, we're both like we just didn't have a ton of time to film them. We had like limited rehearsals with the actors to learn the choreography, and so that was like something where it was like, I don't know, like is this gonna work? And when that opening dance number starts and you just see like Tomas like kicking their face
Yes.
and just like the amazing outfits and how it all came together. And the little trick with the costume change with Gen Z in the middle. I just like it works so well. And with the song, because like we
Yeah.
also didn't, like getting Kesha's blow was like also like a bit of a we didn't think we were gonna get it. We kind of
Yeah.
were working off of the fact that we probably wouldn't get it for a very long time until all of a sudden it magically came together. And so yeah, that was one where I was like it like kicks off the movie so well and I just I didn't think it was going to, so I'm really
Yeah.
glad that it came
Yeah.
together.
Oh my God. I can't
But
believe I'm with you on that. I can't believe we actually got the Kesha to work out. I have to
It's
say that
Kesha's
when
summer too. Kesha's
it's,
summer. She's blowing it up. She really is.
yeah, I know. And how crazy another serendipitous thing that turns out Kesha's going on tour with the Scissor Sisters this summer, which in like two of our four needle drops are Scissor Sisters and Kesha. It's too weird and stars aligning. But
Well,
when we were trying to figure out what song, because we knew we needed to license one song ahead of time because it was a lip sync and we needed to shoot it. And so we had this sort of playlist going of potential songs for the opening, and we were like, okay, what's a song that's recognizable by more than one generation that will feel nostalgic and also like draggy because drag so often is about music that you recognize and can sing along with and you want the crowd to know the song but also lyrically appropriate for the situation, knowing that we were going to bring it back in the end. And I put Blow on the list, and I feel like Natalie, you were my ally. You were like, oh yeah, Kesha, yes, I see the value in Blow because it's not necessarily like lyrically that deep, but it is perfect.
it worked so well. It really
Yeah.
did. It really did. It checked all the boxes.
Yeah.
well, you know what else worked really well is the music. Now, I'm gonna butcher their names, so I'm not gonna say them, but it had a very high energy electronic feel. And again, it fits in the universe it's in, it fits in the Romero universe, and it just helps you kind of get amped up. So, what was the scoring process like?
Oh my God. I cannot say enough amazing things about Blitz Berlin. Blitz Berlin, um, I from day one working with them was an absolute dream. And during post, some days were hard and when things weren't working. And like I remember Matt and Natalie saying, like, listen, just buckle up for the roller coaster of post because there are gonna be days when you're like, this movie sucks. And just hang on because it's gonna be okay. It's supposed to get worse before it gets better. And that was true. There were some low points, but every time I was like hitting a low, I would get a new reel from Blitz Berlin and it would just reignite my fire because they just understood what to do. They are the perfect they understood. I love the analog synth 80s nostalgia sound. I love it so much. And that's what they do. They get out their actual synths and they are using the real deal stuff. And then but they also get the club world. They get what it is to be poppy, and they were able to blend all these elements that I wanted together so perfectly. And they're able to be playful, they're able to be scary, they're able to do the action, and they're just delightful to work with. And one of the things that we went into the movie wanting to do was homaging John Harrison's Day of the Dead Suite. And we just thought it would be so cool to bring in that theme. And we, with John's blessing, of course, I love the way they tease it in. I love the way that we first hear it when Zaba Queen's there in the alleyway, and then it kind of grows throughout the movie to eventually getting mashed into the Kesha remix at the end, which just to me is a music. It's like musically captures what this movie is about, blending the Dead Suite with Kesha and an electronic remix of Kesha's Blow. It just like to me that is the movie, and music was so super important to me from the beginning. We had needle drops listed in the screenplay, which is sort of like, not necessarily advised because of just like dollar signs, but like we wanted to make sure Aaron and I that like people who read the script knew that music was going to be an element here. And ultimately I love the way it came together. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. And Blitz Berlin, they really just they brought it home. They super brought it home. And I don't know if you caught the Axe Wound remix at the part two credit song. Did you catch that, Mark?
I don't
So
think so.
okay, so if you watch the credits, the first credit song is an amazing track by Tomas Matos who plays Nico, and then we go into um, a song called Axe Wound, which is actually what they're dancing to during the unhinged dance party when Dre is pretty sure her wife is dead. But then in the credits, we go back and they mix in Kelsey's dialogue of "I got an axe wound," and and that right there to me also captures the magic of Blitz Berlin. Like they get it and they brought it. And I'm hoping with all of my heart that we get to release a score, a soundtrack album, or at least a score, because I think it is so good. I love their score.
Well, I think if Waxwork has any say in it, they have a long history of doing your dad's films, so and it's right in their vein. So I'll cross all my fingers. But hate to cut you off, but I know you're all professionals who've got much more important stuff to do than yap on with me. But Erin, Tina, Natalie, thank you so much for your time. Whether your name is Barbara or Brady, these characters are coming to get you at a theater near you. So thank you for your time, and we will catch you next time.
Thank you so much, Mark.